The German accusative case. In today's lesson, I will show you what the accusative case actually is, when you have to use it, and which special verbs even require you to use it twice in a sentence. Hi, my name is Jan and I'm your German teacher here on Easy Deutsch, your YouTube channel for German grammar. Today's topic is the German accusative case. The accusative is often also referred as direct object, but trust me, it's so much more than just the direct object. So let's switch into my ebook, German Cases, no problem, right now, and I will explain you everything you have to know about the accusative case. We're here now in my ebook, Nominative, Accusative, Dative or Genitive, no problem. Today's topic is the accusative case. So let's have a look at the accusative case. So the accusative case is also known as the direct object. But, very, very big but, we also use the accusative case after some specific verbs and prepositions. More about that later. And the direct object is usually the person or the thing that is acted upon, so the person or thing that's not doing anything on its own, it's just used for the action. And if you want to use them, the question words are wen with an N or was. But like I mentioned in my nominative video, which I link in the info cards for you too, don't use them. Don't use those questions. They will more confuse you than they will help you if you're not a native speaker, which I assume. Otherwise, you wouldn't watch this video in English if I have my German YouTube channel too. If you're not native, they don't help you at all. Even if you're a native German speaker, it will more confuse you than it will help you. So many teachers use them. I don't understand why, because those question words are not helpful at all. But I will help you to figure out when to use the accusative. But first, let's have a look at a few examples. Der Mann hat ein Pferd. So the man has a horse. So the question here for Pferd is, what does the man have? A horse, ein Pferd. So it's the direct object because the horse itself is not doing anything, and we're also not really talking about it. We are talking about the man. Man is the subject. It's just used for whatever statement we want to give here, but it's not doing anything on its own, and it's also not the subject. So it's the direct object. It's also easy because you see haben here, to have, and haben always requires direct object if it is the main verb and not used to create, for example, another tense. Der Junge schenkt einer Freundin die Blumen. So the boy gives the flowers to a friend or girlfriend. So here it's more obvious that it's the direct object because the boy is the acting person. So the boy is the person who does something, and the flowers are just used for this action. The flowers don't do anything themselves. They're just used for the action to give. So the boy gives the flowers to his girlfriend or friend. They don't do anything, they're just acted upon, and that's accusative case. More about the exact use a little bit later in this video. Before accusative, you have to decline articles and everything. Yes, if you want to know the exact declension of all the different articles, I will link the playlist with all the different articles and pronouns here in the info cards for you, upper right corner of your video. There you will find it. There will explain everything in detail. But here, accusative, what you have to keep in mind, we only change masculine articles. Feminine, neuter, and plural will stay the same like a nominative, only masculine changes to the en ending everywhere. So now, after we got through the declension, let's have a look at the use of the accusative. We already spoke about the use as accusative object. This is the default way of the use of the accusative. So you have the subject, the nominative at all time, and then you have a verb, and then there's another object, which is usually accusative case. Except a preposition wants something else in between, or except the verb requires a certain case. If you remember the nominative video, there are some verbs that have 2 times the nominative case. If you checked out the dative or genitive videos already, there you also find some verbs that require dative or genitive, despite it being the direct object. You have to use the other case, but the default way is subject, verb, accusative. That's the direct object. But you also have to use the accusative after some certain prepositions. For example, durch, ohne, bis, für, entgegen always require the accusative case. So if you see those prepositions, you can be 100% sure it has to be accusative case. Fährt durch den Tunnel, so he drives through the tunnel. Die Blumen sind für meine Freundin, so the flowers are for my girlfriend. Der Mann geht das Haus, so the man goes around the house. It has to be accusative, and the only reason for that is the preposition. Because the preposition always overrules any other rule. If they have a preposition there, the preposition will tell you which case you have to use, no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's direct or indirect object. It doesn't matter if the verb requires a certain case. Doesn't matter. Preposition rules. So the preposition is the king if it comes to cases. So they will always determine the case for you. So you also have some verbs that don't have just one accusative object, but rather 2. This is not very common. So if you're still a very beginner, you can skip this part. Also, there are just a few verbs, but even as a very beginner, you might know them and will wonder. So if you don't want to wonder, stick around. I will show you the 6 verbs that use 2 accusative objects. Let's have a look at the first one. Mein Vater fragt mich die Vokabeln ab. Word by word, this is not really translatable, but in terms of sense, it is my dad is checking the vocabulary with me. So it's like the dad sitting in front of me and going through my vocabulary list and asking me, what does this word mean in German? What does this word mean in German? That's abfragen. And for the simple action, we need 2 accusative objects. But most of the time we actually leave one of them out because it's obvious. Because remember from my lessons about word order and sentence structure in general, everything that's obvious in German, we usually can't leave it out if it is obvious. So mein Vater fragt die Vokabeln ab. You can also say this if my mom comes in to my room and asking, hey, what are you guys doing? We can leave the mich out because it's obvious that if it's just me and my dad there, I could say my dad or mein Vater fragt die Vokabeln ab because it's not me who's asking him for the vocabulary. So it's obvious. Then we can leave the mich out. More obvious probably for you is with the next example, der Lehrer lehrt oder unterrichtet uns die deutsche Sprache. So the teacher is teaching us the German language. Here we can leave out the us because it's obvious. We're sitting in a classroom, there's a person in front of the board and is explaining us something, and it's to us and not to somebody in another room. So, but technically it's 2 accusative objects because the verb wants it so, because we have a receiver here, which usually is dative, but with lehren, unterrichten, it is accusative, simply because the verb wants it so, and we do not have a preposition. But uns can be left out because it's obvious. The most common word where you will see this is der Apfel kostet mich einen Euro. Technically, yes, kosten needs a second object. But because it's obvious, if I want to buy something that I have to pay that, we can drop that mich, and that's what we usually do in 99% of the cases when we talk like this. We will not say der Apfel kostet mich einen Euro, so the apple costs me €1. We will say the apple costs €1. 100% grammatically correct would be with the mich, but if it's obvious, this can be dropped. So it's both 100% correct. Just if you see it, it's both accusative case because the verb wants it so. Here, one example where it's not obvious, just for you to see the difference. Das Auto kostet den Mann einen Jahreslohn. Here we can not really leave the guy out because we don't know who is gonna pay it. And we don't know because every person earns a different amount. We have to know who is gonna buy it. So here we cannot really leave it out unless we're living in communism and everybody earns the same salary. But here we cannot really leave it out. And the last noun, nennt mich einen Idioten, so he calls me an idiot. In English, you have to do this. Also, he calls me an idiot. And here, we cannot leave anything out because it's not obvious that he, first of all, calls me an idiot, and it's not obvious what he calls me. So here, both have to be used, and it's both accusative case because the verb wants it so. There is no other reason for that. But in informal language, we often also say something else. We use indirect speech, indirekte Rede. Sagt, dass ich ein Idiot sei. This is with Konjunktiv 1. If you don't know what Konjunktiv 1 or indirect speech is, I will link that in the info cards for you too. And as a short summary, the accusative is usually the direct object unless there's a preposition in front, and you also have to use the case according to the preposition. Some verbs require two accusative objects, and the default way without preposition is nominative verb accusative case. At the end, I have a to-do list for you. You should learn prepositions in your native language. Learn what is a preposition, because that will make your life easier here if you understand what is a preposition, what is no preposition, because remember, prepositions determine the case. And if you have my ebook, obviously start doing the exercises. There are a couple of pages dedicated to accusative case. Go through them to practice what you've just learned. And in case you're missing the two case prepositions, there's either a dedicated video for this on my YouTube channel where I'm talking only about two case prepositions, or in my lesson about the dative case, I included them too. So you will find them here in this playlist too. Just go to the video about dative. I will link this one in the info cards for you too. If you have any further questions about the German accusative case, please do not hesitate to write them in the comments below. Also, if you liked that video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done it yet. That's always a great support. Also, if you like the ebook that you've just seen in this video, you can actually purchase this. It's always a great support. I don't do Patreon, and I also don't waste your time with other in-ad video ads that waste 1 or 2 of your minutes. So If you want to support me more than just sharing this video, liking this video, you get extra content, extra value if you purchase my ebooks. And for this particular ebook, like all of my ebooks, I guarantee you will like them. I give a 14-day money back guarantee. And also with this particular ebook, I guarantee you will understand German cases if you work through the whole ebook. It comes with plenty of exercises where you can practice everything you learn in my videos and in the ebook. So go check it out. There's no risk involved. And then I hope I will see you again in one of my other videos. And until then, viel Spaß und Erfolg beim Deutschlernen.